Welcome, everybody, to the Bears Den. I'm your boy, the Superback, Sean Sierra, and this is a Sports Zone Chicago War Media collaboration. I'm going to bring in my guests, my man. Fired up about it. My man, Joe Tanksley. Joe, what's up, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I'm great, man. I am great. I had a little getaway that yesterday, a little 24-hour getaway. It was good,
Okay.
man. It was time to it's always good to be able just to kind of unplug the plug and reset. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. I mean, you need that time to, sometimes you get away from everything. You got a lot of stuff coming, a lot of information to take in, and just a lot of crap. A lot of
For
crap to
all it,
deal with on a day-to-day basis, especially living in Chicago. So,
yeah, for all intents and purposes, that's probably the best way to put it. Just a lot of crap. A lot of crap. Listen, we're here with football. The Bears are on a huge 2-game winning streak,
yep.
and they are traveling to the Mistake by the Lake. They're going over to Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
All right, they're going over to Cleveland, get some work in on Sunday, and looking for their third win in a row. Now, this team is really believing in themselves right about now. They have a lot
Uh-huh.
of confidence. Talk to me about how you feel this game or this team is going to be going into this game.
You know what? I think this is probably no, this is not probably. This is the biggest test that the Bears will face this season. The Cleveland Browns are 8-5, top five defense, a monster defense ran by Jim Schwartz or Jack Schwartz. I don't remember his name, Schwartz. Uh, and he's got a monster defense. That's centered around Miles Garrett and a number of other star players. Denzel Ward on the back end. They got a really solid defense. They've only allowed 14 first downs a game or something a crazy stat. But uh, it's ridiculous. How efficient they are, how they're able to get off the field. And give the ball back to that offense that's been down a lot. They want the fourth quarterback, Joe Flacco, and somehow Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Browns, has been able to get this team to 8-5.
Well, talk to me about the
you know,
Bears, bro. Talk to me about the Bears. I'm not worried about Cleveland yet. Let's talk about the Bears. How do you think the Bears are going to come out and play this weekend?
you know what? I think they're going to come in on a high and itching to win again. Once you start winning, you get that taste in your mouth, and it just starts. Something you become a fiend for. And I think what we've seen in the last couple of weeks is those players get a taste of that and wanted to do it again and doing the things necessary to get those wins. When they played against Detroit, for the most part, they were mistake free. Uh, it really, took it to Detroit. Like I said, they were physical, and they pretty much just beat that team up. Which is what I said that they would do, and could do. Uh, and I think, that should be the game plan going in this week. Like I said before, it's a different animal with the Cleveland Browns. But I think if you can run the ball and set the tone that way, and let them know, that they're going to be in for a dogfight. I think, so to speak, dogfight Cleveland Browns. But I think Bears are game for a win. I think this is a gettable team. That offense. The fourth quarterback. I think this is a good spot for the Bears to stack a win. It's probably the toughest opponent this season, though.
Well, they have a good run, a good defense. Cleveland does a very good defense, but that can't stop the Bears from attacking them and trying to establish that ground game. How do you think they're going to do in the ground game? They have Deontay Foreman back. They have uh, Khalil Herbert back. Rashawn Johnson. How much or how consistent, how dedicated do you think that Luke Getsy is going to stay with the run game? Because Cleveland is one of the top teams against the run in the NFL. But in order to open up things downfield, you have to continue to pound the
Hmm.
ball. do you anticipate Luke Getsy sticking to the run game?
You know what? I think there's some tantalizing, things out there. The Cleveland Browns are going to be down to safety. And once you got a safety, like Grant Delpit, and I think Denzel Ward, and he's out of. They're unsure if he's going to be able to come back and play, but with the injuries they have, you could be tempted to, go out there and toss the rock a little bit, and which is fine. But like you said, you got to be able to pound the ball and create that balance and keep them unbalanced. So to keep that defense on their heels a little bit, and committing to the run game is the best way to do that. I would love to see some situations where we utilize Mercedes Lewis a little bit more, for his inline blocking, two tight end sets, maybe an extra lineman, just to let them know that we're going to be physical and we're going to try to move you off the line and push this ball down the field. I think if you can do that and establish that and let them know, that you're going to take it to them, I think it changes the tenor of the game, and that's one thing that the Bears have been able to do, on this win streak so far. Is they've been able to, we talked about it before, that first quarter, that first scripted plays, have been masterful. They've been doing it week after week, and they have been having a lot of success. Taking the ball after winning the coin toss, and driving straight down the field and scoring a touchdown. And so it'll be interesting to see how they start the game with. Hopefully they've learned from what they did, that first meeting with the Vikings, and not going out there and dropping back 5-7 instead of dropping, getting just hit in the mouth. Hopefully they come out there with a more balanced and more prepared, first drive against those Browns, because they're going to need it.
The last time Justin Fields played in Cleveland was his rookie year. It was actually his first start. Different regime, different head coach, different schemes. But he got beat up, and he got beat up good. He got sacked 9 times.
They kicked his ass.
Garrett, and No, not Jadeveon Clowney. I just lost the other one. The other dude, the stud.
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett. There you go. I was thinking Courtney.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett. He had 4.5 sacks himself. How much of how focused do you think Justin Fields will be? All right, he's come full circle. He's grown a lot. He's gone through hell and back with the losing streak last year to this season. And the last few games he's played very, very well. This team is full of confidence. I was in the locker room on Sunday, and I asked, Cole Kmet, I asked a couple of guys, Jaden, but both of them said that their confidence is at an all-time high. How do you expect Justin Fields to come out to play against this team? Because as we said, he got his ass whooped big time 2 years ago in his first career start.
I mean, I think, that first start, watching the beating he took, that's a lot to ruin a lot of young quarterbacks. We've seen it with is it David Carr? Derek Carr in Houston? The beating he took his rookie year, and he was never the same after. Yeah, he wasn't the same after that. Who had a lot of promise, and so a lot of people were worried about it. Is that going to ruin, Justin Fields? And you could see, throughout that season that he was, kind of got the happy feet and wasn't very trustworthy. Just what his play showed. But like you said, he's come full circle, and and I think throughout this time period, you've seen his mental.
Joe, did we lose you, boss? Looks like Joe's having some technical difficulties.
Okay.
Are you back? Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah. But what I was saying, that the thing that sets Justin apart, from a lot of, young quarterbacks is his mental toughness, I think. and being able to come full circle, like you said, I think he's going to be 100% dialed in and ready to show. This is the time to do it. Uh, yeah, and he's been able to persevere, deal with a lot of the criticisms. At the same time while working on his game and trying to perfect it. And a lot of people who watch football and want to be pundits from the couch don't understand that progress is not linear. There's going to be some good with the bad, and I think we're getting to the point for him where we're starting to see a little bit more consistency. We're starting to see some improvement, and that's what you have to do. I had a professor in grad school, Stanford Trawick, who used to say you have to in life you have to aim, adapt, improve, and maintain. And what he's done, he's been able to adapt. Now he's improving. We want to get him to the point where we want him to see the maintaining, and this is where we start to see it against a team like Cleveland.
I'm anticipating Justin Fields coming out and really having a good game. This is, the Detroit Lions were a formidable foe, the division leading Lions. But I do think that he does remember his first start.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he does remember 4.5 sacks by Myles Garrett. I do think he does remember getting his ass whooped. And I do think he does care about sending a statement. All right. Still in the back of his mind, you still have all the naysayers. You still have all the, as you talked about, the pundits and the armchair quarterbacks, and the recliner GMs that you have say Justin's
Right.
Justin's gone. He hasn't showed you enough. And I think as a competitor, I think he's ready to. He's going to come out and have a good game against his team, and kind of come full circle. So we're going to find out, what kind of game he has. We're going to wait and see till on Sunday. But with my opinion, with the competitive nature that he has, I think Justin's really gonna show out. I think he's going to really force the ball to DJ Moore. They play a lot of man coverage. You cannot play man coverage against DJ Moore. That is a style that they like to play. So if they do decide to shade a safety, they have a lot of single high. So if they do decide to shade a safety over, man, Cole Kmet should have a good day. I'm really looking for Darnell Mooney to have a day. It's his contract year, so he really needs to have a day or a couple of days in the next 4 weeks to increase his leverage. So we'll see if he takes advantage of the shade that they give DJ Moore, because if they don't shade DJ Moore, well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a long day for Cleveland, because DJ Moore is going to have one hell of a stat line.
Yeah, and I think this, you bring up, Darnell Mooney, and this is a game where we really need to, see him step up. We saw Justin try to go to him a few times, and for some reason they just weren't able to connect. The timing was off a little bit, but this is a week where they need to get back on the same page. They're going to be definitely giving some a lot of attention to DJ Moore. It's going to be a piece that they're going to try to take away, because the Bears rely on him. Justin relies on him a lot. So you have to think that they're going to do something to kind of take him out the game, so to speak. So they have to be prepared for that.
Well, I'm looking forward to. Let's switch to the other side of the ball. When Cleveland has the ball, they're down to the 6th, 7th, 10th quarterback, Joe Flacco,
Right.
whatever he is. He's the man. All right.
Old man Joe.
He did win a Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl champion.
Yep.
However, he looked good, and that's the one thing I think that the Bears really need to make sure that they guard themselves against, and that's overconfidence, because they don't have. I mean, because Joe Flacco is there, you can't just assume that this is a gimme. You can't just assume. All right, he won last week, so it's not like he can't win. I mean, they didn't sign him for, spits and giggles. All right, they signed him for a reason. He showed up, he won last week, and they feel confident with him, as well they should. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. However, they are down big time. Okay, they are down to their 3rd and 5th string tackles. Both tackles are out. Jack Conklin, he's on IR. All right, their rookie right tackle, DeJuan Jones from Ohio State, he's on IR. Jedrick Willis, he's on IR. Jordan Elliott, he's questionable. So they're having issues. They're having a lot of issues up front. How's that going to help this Bears defense with the fifth and sixth and seventh or eighth string tackles on both sides?
You know what? I think that's going to, play into the Bears' hands. Like we talked about it last week. Dexter's, starting to show a lot of flashes. Justin Jones was able to, get a sack last week. And again, Montez Sweat against, practice squad tackles. You just know that, they're going to have to help out on that side or he's going to eat and wreck the game. He has that capability to do that. If you don't help and try to double team him, there's going to leave some mismatches for the other side, for the other guys, on that defensive line. It's a shame that, Ngakoue has to go on injured reserve this week because you could be looking for him, to kind of step up on the other side and get some of those sacks and some of those pressures. But, you got to have the next man up. And I think the Bears, have enough depth on that defensive line to be able to do that. DeMarcus Walker, they brought him in this year for the Tennessee Titans. This is time for him to step up. On the other side, you got to think that he's going to get the bulk of those reps. Come Sunday. So who's up on the opposite side of Sweat? They're definitely going to have to, beat that one-on-one. The guys in the middle, Billings, Dexter, Jones. They're going to have to, push that pocket up into the face of Joe Flacco. He's not very mobile. He has a cannon for an arm, but he's not going to run away from anybody. So if you can collapse that pocket, you can make it a long day for that offense.
Speaking of that, then tell me, without the tackles, how can they collapse the pocket? You assume that they're gonna have pressure from Sweat. Depending on who's on the other side of him, is it DeMarcus Walker? Is it
I think it's
Rasheem Green?
Yeah.
How is that going to help the interior, Gervon Dexter Sr. and Andrew Billings?
Well, if you have to double team Sweat, you're going to have one-on-one matches on the interior of that line, especially on those passing downs. And Dexter has been able to show us that he has some, he's starting to get that quick first step off the line and being able to disrupt plays. I think we're going to be able to see him finish some of those plays this week. Without them double team. Usually, when the closer you are to the ball, those defensive players tend to get tandem blocked a lot. Whether it's the nose or the three tech. Three tech is usually the guy that's quick enough to beat those double teams. Well, if he's not getting double teamed now, you're going to have to expect him to win, every single time. And that's, he's shown that he's, been able to win some of those matchups when he has those one-on-ones. And so the more and more when he has a one-on-one matchup, that's more and more opportunity for him to be a disruptor. And I can see that happening in that game without those tackles.
Gervon Dexter Sr. has been really, really, really developing and growing up before our eyes. Talk to me about his anticipated performance. Okay, with that, okay, you have to look at Montez Sweat. You have to,
right?
Otherwise, he will wreck the game for you by himself.
Talk to me
about how Gervon Dexter can eat big time this week.
Well, pretty much. Coming into the season, a second round draft pick, it took him a little bit while to get used. He didn't play this kind of style while he was in Florida, but with the coaching that he's been able to get, with that Bears staff, we've seen his technique improve week after week. We've seen those flashes week after week. And this is the time for him to show that consistency and really stack some plays together, really stack some good reps together, against a one-on-one matchup. Like I said before, the interior line, they usually get double teamed and tandem blocked a lot. And with the tackles being out, you're going to have to help on Montez Sweat. There's just no way that they're not going to be able to do that. Especially when you don't have a mobile quarterback that who can't get away with you. I'm really expecting Javon Dexter, Jones and Billings to collapse that pocket in the middle somehow and get the Flacco straight up the middle. And then if he tries to step to the right or to the left, Montez Sweat, you'll be there. DeMarcus Walker, Rasheem Green to be there. And that's what I expect to see. I expect the Bears to be able to, get pressure with 4. We know, Flus has been able to be aggressive. I think this is the week where you're going to be able to see, that true, cover 2 Tampa style defense when you can get pressure with 4 with those tackles out. And which is, pretty good when you're going to, that you need to be able to do when you have a veteran quarterback like Joe Flacco. You have more guys in coverage because he's seen a lot. Like you said before, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. You're going to be able, you're going to have to be able to cover. You're not going to be able to disguise anything. You're just going to have to be able to cover.
Talk to me then about the back end. The back end has been the strength of this defense. Jalen Johnson was a beautiful pick last week. However, Jaquan Brisker, 17 tackles. A man was everywhere.
Yes.
We played him down in the box, almost like an extra linebacker down there. Talk to me on how the lack of offensive offensive tackles for the Browns is really going to help that back end.
Well, if you can't block, the ball's got to come out, and if the ball's got to come out quick, that's less time you have to cover. And if as a former cornerback, if you can cover and press up against your man, for 2 or 3 seconds versus 4 seconds, you get a lot of opportunities to make a play on the ball, and I think because it's going to be coming out, so you're going to be ready. You're going to be ready to break, so you can play a little bit more aggressively, in coverage. And I think that's what we're going to, kind of see on the back end, which is what we've seen, so far, with this run with this defense, what Eagles calling it. You see an aggressive, secondary, breaking on the ball, getting their hands on the ball, creating turnovers. And I think the quicker the ball has to come out, the better it's going to be for our secondary, because we have a very physical secondary that likes to play man, that likes to press, that likes to tackle. That's a plus for us. I think, you mentioned Brisker. Like you said, I think, it was one of his best games. I was worried about him, in the beginning of the season, but, since Eberflus has been calling it the defense, he's been locked in. And, he's totally bought in, and, he's been able to diagnose and read and react. And, he's in the thick of it. Another guy like that is Kyler Gordon. He's locked in. He's able to read and react, be around the ball. Jalen Johnson is, doing Jalen Johnson things. He's, using the coverage to his advantage, playing cover 2, baiting the quarterback to throw the ball into that void and getting right back and being able to intercept that. That's what you want to do. Make him think you're going to take the flack and then back up into coverage and get that ball. And that's something that we've seen him do consistently for the last few weeks. Tyreek Stevenson, he's been kind of dinged up lately, but, he's another guy who's coming on. The penalties have died down a little bit. He's still playing aggressive. He's been able to get a few. And the only one that we're missing right now is Eddie Jackson. And I don't know what it is with him, but, it would be nice if, he can get in on some of this action too.
Well, despite the fact he hasn't been, he still is a threat. You still have to account for Eddie Jackson because of his reputation.
Oh yeah,
he started early in his career. He was big play Eddie. Last year before he got hurt, he was getting back to big play Eddie. I think this could be a good week for him to get back to big play Eddie. I think with the lack of offensive tackle, with the Browns down to their 4th and 5th or 4th and 6th offensive tackle. You talked about the ball coming out sooner. And if it doesn't come out sooner, that means they're gonna have to max protect. If they max protect, then that really means there's less guys going out in the routes. And if there's less guys going out in the routes, you can adjust your drop. All right. You can cheat a little bit. Okay.
Right.
You can really hang with receivers a little longer, okay, before you pass them off into another zone. You can do that. So I'm looking forward to a big time play from this defense and possibly a score, possibly one score, maybe two. All right, Joe Flacco throw the ball to you. It's just getting to him, as we talked about. He's not a mobile quarterback. He is a statue back there. So he's gonna have to. He's got to get pressure. Javon Dexter and Billings, as long as they collapse from the inside, I'm not worried about the pressure from the outside. And I'll tell you, quarterbacks hate. They can always deal with pressure from the outside. They hate pressure up the middle. And if those two, I'm talking Dexter Senior and Billings, continue to do what they've been doing, they're gonna make it a very, very, very long day at the office for Joe Flacco.
No doubt.
Coach Eberflus is on the hot seat as well. Talk to me about this. The Bears have taken. They've won this. They won the opening. They've won the coin toss. They've taken the ball. Are you a fan of that? And if they win it again this week, because they're on the road, so they get to make the call. They get to make the call. I think they go on offense first again.
This is something that they've been successful with doing, and I think that it goes against conventional wisdom, but I think if the place where the Bears were at that time, losing football games and trying to, get something started, I think that's really how it started. We talked about the scripted plays a little bit, excuse me, and how they've been, successful on their opening drives. And I think for them, being able to take the ball and drive it down the field to score sets the tone, for that team, and especially for that defense, because now you get to play with a lead, it kind of puts the other team on notice. Oh, now we got to play from behind. And when teams have to play from behind, the play calls a little bit differently. Where you can be a little bit more aggressively. If when the team comes out and they know that they're down to score, maybe they have to scrap a few things on that script that they already got. They have to change something. So I think it's been able to play, into the Bears' favor that way. I think they're 3-1 when they've been taking the ball first. So it's been working for them. I can't criticize that. I'm more of a person that would like to have the defense out there first, and try to get an extra possession at the end of the half and in the first half. But as long as you can execute and get off the field, those things don't really matter. It's all about the execution, on the offensive side of the ball and on the defensive side of the ball. It's been very complimentary for them.
It has been, and Matt Eberflus said there's no data that says, and this is the thing that really bugs me. Someone says something, and then you have a lot of people. I saw it all over social media today, and I've heard people on the radio talk about it, saying, "Well, you double dip. The team will get the ball before half, and then they get to receive the ball the second half." Why does that? How would they? They can't guarantee that the opposing team is going to get the ball at the end of the half. There's no guarantee.
Right.
It's not
exactly
tit for tat. There's no thing. So when people say that, it's funny when people who've never played the sport hear something or even make some nonsense like this up, and then people run with it because they have a bigger platform. Right. It's interesting, but there's no. It's not a guarantee that the team who gets the ball second in the. If the Bears take the ball to the opening kickoff, there's no guarantee that the Browns are going to have it before the half. The Bears might have it before half. So they might have an extra possession,
right?
So there's no guarantee. So it's interesting how a lot of people like to talk about that and say that, but like Matt Eberflus said, there's no data that proves that, that supports that. So I like how he clapped back and told those guys, shut up and mind your business.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you get the ball and your offense has the ball for 25, 28 minutes in the first half. Exactly.
How do you feel this team's going to finish up? All right. I said on here a couple weeks ago, if you remember, I said, I think they can go 5-0. I said they might go 4-1. if they did go 4-1, in my opinion, it's going to be either this Cleveland game or the Green Bay game that they lose. But they have the chance to go 5-0. How do you see them finishing the final 4 games of the season?
You know what? Given the way that this team is, on the upswing, they've proven, those 2 games against Detroit have proved that the Bears can play and that they can match up and be a competitive team. And they've proven that they can win some tough games. I think there's no reason that the Bears can't go into Cleveland and win. I think that's a very gettable game for them. The rest of the team, the rest of the teams that they have to play, those are teams that the Bears could definitely beat. And I would even, argue that they're better than, with the talent that they have. So I'm expecting the Bears, to go out here and try to win every single game, and I think they can.
I do too. The only, and I would on the down low would be rooting for the Bears to lose against Arizona, and the only reason I would say that is for draft position. That's the only reason. The only reason. And actually, we wouldn't even have to. No, I trust me. I could. Yeah, I want them in 4. I want them in 4 because Arizona's they don't need a quarterback. All right, I want them at 4. Because they're I think they're more than happy to take Marvin Harrison Jr. At 4. Who it is that we want? So the game, Washington leapfrogs them into the 3rd spot, and I think Washington can jump up and trade with us. So we go to 3, where we'll get a haul for whoever for Washington wanted to get the number 1 overall pick, and then we can draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Or if you want to draft Olu, I'm okay with that too. I have no problem. I can't get mad at fortifying an offensive line. Can't do it. Can't do it. Right. Cannot get mad at it. Cannot critique it. Cannot, So, but I think Marvin, that's my dream scenario. We trade down to 3, get a haul, and still able to get Marvin Harrison Jr. Man, I like that kind of party.
I do too as well.
Hey, well, this right here would be seems like a good place to stop it. What's your prediction? Give me your prediction for this week. Remember last week I said 30-20. I said
35-20. I said 35-20 last week. We were close though. We were close.
We were very close. It was just the stupid extra point. That was they missed it. They missed the extra point. So they had to go for 2 this next time. I'm like, come on, how many times do you miss, 2 extra points? Because that would have given me 30.
Right. Right.
So we'll
no
see.
doubt. I think, this week I think it's going to be, I predict it to be a dogfight, a very physical game, but I'm expecting the Bears to come out on top. I just think, the Bears offense, has some very explosive capabilities, and I think they'll be able to take advantage and get those plays. I think the Cleveland Browns offense, while they've been able to keep things afloat with Joe Flacco, I think that defense is going to be primed and be able to, create turnovers the way that they have been, and get impressions the way that they have been. And I think that's going to be the difference in that game. I think Justin and DJ Moore will be able to make a couple of big plays along with Kmet. And I think the Bears will come out. I'm thinking 21, 14.
Really? That close, huh? Wow.
21-14. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm a little shocked. I just think that's
too close.
Yeah. I do. I think that's okay. Yeah. Well, I think this defense is going to help out a lot. I think it's going to be
if you factor in a defensive score, that could bump it up a little bit.
Yeah, so I think Oh shoot, what I do? Oh, sorry. I think it's my prediction 28-13
28,
Bears.
13. Okay.
I think
Okay.
28-13. I want to say 30. You know what? You bump that. I'm gonna change it. 30. And here's
30.
why.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not gonna I ain't gonna half step. All right, the Bears. I feel the Bears are gonna come across and put a 30 spot on them. You put a 30 spot up on this defense, that lets everybody know. All right,
Mhm.
you put a 30 spot up on this. I mean, hell, they put it up on Detroit, except for those two stupid ass extra points. But you do it on this defense, yeah, it signals a lot, and it also signals. I think a further belief in Justin, because if you put 30 points on one of the top defense in the NFL, you're doing something. You're doing something.
Mhm.
So we'll see. Well,
We'll see.
we will. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. We appreciate the love and the support. Again, this is the Bears Den, Award Media and Sports Zone Chicago collabo. He's Joe Tanksley. I'm your boy, the Superback Sean Sierra. Guys, man, bear to freak down. Well, it's gonna be fire. I'm gonna be fired. I'm fired up the rest of the week. It's gonna be good to see the game on Sunday, and we
Uh-huh.
will see you guys next Thursday. All right, folks.
Peace.
For everybody here at here we go. Here we go. Later, Asta, Patty, bear down. Everybody here at War Media, everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.